today?
No, Shelby made coffee today.
Really?
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Can she find you a shirt for that T-shirt you're wearing? Or
She didn't do that for me, no.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm on Connor's computer, and I look more like an alien today.
No. It's the only look you got.
Thank you. So anyway, why don't you show everyone the onesie you got for Perry?
Well, it's not for Perry. It's too small for Perry.
True.
I'll tell you what. I will show everyone the onesie if you can go through the Rolodex of the TikToks that you were going to show Perry with all the business advice that there is out there.
You do know we'd have the highest rated show in history if
we would. But we can't give away all that stuff.
And we'd be kicked off Facebook.
We would be.
All right. So here's the thing. So I'm trying to figure this out. Are you on? Can you look? I mean,
I'm trying. My internet's not working.
Okay. You ever heard of Yoda? Do or do not? Mr. Manilli.
Mr. Manilli, we got one.
Mr. Tassoul,
and that's a wrap.
Tass, what I was going to do, I mean, it's just inspiring, right? Reading some of these posts from the schools.
For sure. It's very inspiring. You know, we know we're just working with clients that we make a big impact, but sometimes when you see it in the written word, it's just a even bigger reminder. And then when you see, you know, we have a lot of individual calls, but when you see masses of people reporting record marches and record quarter ones, I mean, it's amazing. It's exciting.
It is. It's incredible. It really is, because it's just like one after the other, and it's just amazing. It really is. And I think it's inspiring for other school owners. And we won't mention names, right? But a couple of these things, and then we'll talk about it and try to give some tips on how people can get these same kind of results. Are you up? Let me see that real quick.
I hope it's inspiring because, you know, and what the backstory, some of you may not know, is, I mean, we have people that were basically broke 3, 4, 5 years ago. People that opened new schools 3 years ago, a year ago, and you know, they started from essentially nothing, and where they are today is nothing short of incredible. So sometimes I know, you know, back in the day when I was younger, and you know, we're always a target for MLMs, right? Like, at least I was in the school, because we have this audience, and you know, we do the public speaking thing and everything else. And I got targeted by a lot of MLMs and fell you know, victim to a couple of them, but went to some of those events. And what's always interesting is the people that were getting on stage that were doing, you know, 50,000 a month, 75,000. I couldn't relate with that because it wasn't even like on my radar. I was like, well, you know, what planet are you guys on? Like that just seems impossible. So, you know, we've got examples of small schools that have had great growth. We've had examples of already successful schools that have had even more growth. So I hope you guys get inspired as opposed to getting frustrated. Sometimes frustration is better, right? Like we do more to, you know, avoid pain than we do to gain pleasure. And maybe, you know, if it's painful for you to see some of these things, maybe that'll be the inspiration that you need to go out. I mean, our mission, Metzger and I had a talk this morning, and it was just a real quick talk, but, you know, seeing all these numbers and seeing what we do, the conversation, I told this to Metz, I said, geez, we, meaning when I say we, Maya, right? The systems of Maya, not because it's Shane Tassoul, but the systems in Maya have proven themselves, and we can just help so many people that want to be helped. And it's, people always ask me, well, why do you do what you do? Right. Well, it's because you said this, Metz, I forget who you said this to, but I think it was somebody at Century. You're like, well, listen, people just tend to love you when you make them money. And it's very
your
true.
Best friend. That's right.
That's right. By the way, that's only one way to measure success, everybody, just so we're clear. But it sure does help.
Okay. All right. So, you know, look, yes, Tash, we did have a talk this morning, and you had called me and you're like, you know, seeing some of these posts, he goes, you said we really are helping so many people. And you're right. And I said, it's just, how do you tap in to the industry? Now, look, we have hundreds of clients, right?
Right.
But I wish we had thousands, because of what we can do. So just real quick, and there's not a ton of people listening, but without mentioning names, this was 2 hours ago, but you can relate to some of these things. And I'll read a few of these very quickly, just so maybe it will spur for any of you who have never reached out to us or Maya to just say, okay, let me just hear. I work with these other people, which is great. Let me just get on the phone with one of these guys and just see. So here's one. Numbers may not excite anyone, but I'm a single owner instructor, town of 6,000 residents, and also hold a part-time job. First quarter of 2020, I did 17,963. 2021, 22,246. 2022, 26,920. And in some of the comments, there were other people saying, hey, I'm in the same position, one-man town of 5,500. We pulled in almost 50,000 last quarter. You're in the right place. Trust me, keep pushing. Then we have, thank you, my elite. We broke 40,000 for the month of March, highest grossing month ever, right? Then you have record-breaking first quarter, 2021, 105,000. 2022, 167,213. Then you have 2021 first quarter, 162,898. 2022 quarter one, 203,679. Check this one. 2021 quarter one, $40,391. 2022, $112,550.
Jeez.
Another one, last record-breaking quarter for us was quarter four of 2021, which grossed 51,979. For the first quarter of 22, we did 63,584. And it goes on and on. 2021 average first quarter, 34,821. 2022 average first quarter, 41,842 a month. So from 34,800 a month average to 41,840 a month average. Then we have another one, 34,000 quarter one of 2020, 64,000, 101,000 for 2022.
Are you going to make the whole show all about the numbers? Is that what we're doing?
I think so, because these are awesome.
Well, I'll just.
But hey, I'll do one more. I'll do one more. But let's do one for some of the bigger schools. Like we have, let's see, 100 and some. Oh, they're on the other site. But we have people that did 600,000 in the first quarter because they have 2 locations open. I mean, just crushing it, right? Anyway, record after record after record. So how do they do it? Here's how they do it. Let me remind everybody, you got in the martial arts industry because you had a passion for martial arts. You didn't have a passion for business necessarily, because if you had a passion for business, you could have gone into any business, but you chose the martial arts business. Focus on your passion. Focus on what you love to do. Be the best instructor. Groom the best instructors. Put your time and energy into your training and your craft to produce the best students you can. Where we come in is we do all the system setups and the thinking for you on how to maximize the business side. So it's easy for you and you do not have to just fly by the seat of your pants and just hope we have a good month or a good quarter. When you see all these people, record. I mean, it is not like an anomaly. You know how when you watch television about a weight loss pill, if you read the fine print, it says results are not typical. You know what I mean? Well, results here in this case are very typical. I mean, you should expect to be breaking records. And Tass, here's the other thing I will say. I think and we've said this a million times, there's a lot of great consulting companies out there. There's a lot of people out there that can absolutely help the majority of this industry because they are very good at converting students, right? They have systems where you can get new students, the marketing, all of that stuff. But Tass, let's just be honest. We know systems that the industry doesn't know. The other consulting companies don't know. I mean, we just, and vice versa. I'm sure they know stuff that we don't know. But again, it's all the time that we get people to come over, been with people, other consulting companies forever, and they just have explosive growth. And I'm sure there's people that have left us and vice versa. The difference is, and it's not right or wrong, we're not going to make you do after school pickup programs or summer camps because you can do that. And those are great and they work well. And we have Mr. Parman on our team who crushes that. But that is not the only thing we do. Right. And I'm not saying it's bad, but I know there's people that have come to us that said, man, it's just fit me. It doesn't suit me. You don't have to do that. You can, if you want to. It is.
By the way, when you say that, the majority of our people don't do that, just so we're clear.
Well, no, none of our people do that are hitting the biggest numbers. None of them. They don't do that. But if there's a method where you could do both, the problem is, and it's only a problem if you're doing, here's the problems. If you find somebody who can get you recruiting a ton of people, but your gross doesn't relate to the amount of students that you have, that's a problem. If you have somebody that can get you hundreds of trials, but you're not converting students, that's a problem. If you are working with somebody that's where you're doing after school and summer camp, but you don't have nighttime business and the after school and summer camp is the majority of your revenue, I believe that is a problem if you're in the martial arts business. Now, some people would argue and say that's not a problem. That's exactly, I get to go home at 6:30. And that's okay. If that's what you love doing, that's okay. But as a martial artist, I just feel that you probably didn't think that was the path when you wanted to get into the martial arts business. Now, if you could do both, if you can really generate a lot of revenue with your evening program, have careers in the traditional sense, and run a successful after school or summer camp, I think that is phenomenal. That's great if that's what you want to do it. And again, we did that for 20 years, but my guys did not like doing it. They didn't want to do it. They like a quiet school, a clean, open school where they can plan their day and they're doing, 70,000 average a month in 2,000 square feet, 65,000 in 2,000 square feet average, and on and on and on. I think it's easier. I think it's just working easier, right? And focusing on our core product. But that's just my opinions. And the thing is it doesn't have to be your opinion, but it's when you don't have a choice. Right. So if your new student dried up for 6 months, are you okay? Right? If your after school program got shut down and your summer camp for whatever you got shut, are you okay? If the answer is no, then you need extra help. If you cut out all your after school and summer camp and you can't survive and still pay your people and keep everyone employed, it's a problem, right? If you're running a nighttime program and your revenue stopped for 3 months and you can't stay open, it's a problem. We can fix those problems, right? That's what we do. But how do we do that, Tass? So how do we do it? Let's give them something. We're selling ourselves. We're doing an infomercial here.
Well, here's the thing. And first of all, how do we know, number one, right? How do we know that? Well, there's people that put out their numbers, right? A lot of people put out their numbers. And usually what happens, and I'm not saying everybody, but usually what happens when people put out their numbers, there's also some embellishment that goes along with that, right? Well, even with embellished numbers, there's a mathematical equation that we can figure out where your school is at and how your school and what the success level is of your school. And I can do that within 30 seconds to figure that out, which is standard across, any school in the nation. So we can figure that number out. And if you're not at a certain number, right? In our case, we talk about student value. But I'm not going to tell you how to figure that out, because there's ways in which we want to make sure that we do it the right way. Because if you do have after school or summer camp, we don't count that with our student value, so on and so forth. But when we see the numbers that are posted, and we see people that are, I don't want to say, I'll just say they're posting their numbers, and we can do the math backwards and go, oh, well, their student value is way less than what our averages are. We know we can help. And that is because we've got, not because, well, it might be because we're so smart, but no, not because we're so smart, but because, early on in my martial art career, my mission, my goal, when I was in my 20s and I had my school, I remember saying to myself, I'd heard it somewhere, fail more often. And it doesn't mean fail on purpose. It just means try more things, do more things. And, in my 20s and even into my 30s, I was open and I was doing anything and everything that I could get a hold of. I was with these people and those people and these people and those people. I filed this off of a video. And the challenge with that is I had bits and pieces of things all over the place. And it's like you're taking parts from a Ford and a Chevy and a, Toyota, and you're trying to put them together and they just don't fit. And not that those things aren't bad. There's great Toyotas, there's great Lexus, there's great BMW, there's great cars out there. But if you try and intermix the parts, it just doesn't fit. And that's really, when I started with Maya, which has got, I think it's 12 years ago now, we made some adjustments in what we were doing and the business systems that we say business systems. And I think, it just gets to be old hat. Like, yeah, we get it. You got to have business systems, but it's true. And they're not these hard, complex systems. They're very simple. And the majority of them are bullet pointed in 4 bullet points. So it's very easy to understand and to learn and to be able to teach other people in your school. And it's been a proven recipe for success. And why all of these systems? Well, those systems came from not only talking to clients and listening to what they're telling us, because everyone's got something that they do well, right? So we listen to that, we internalize that, figure out how to make it a system, and then deliver that to all the other schools. But also, when you're dealing with a multi-school operator who has to have 10 locations and they got to make sure everyone's doing the same thing and it's being done the same way, you need to have systems in your school. So, the easy answer is systems, but the reality is this. Like, there are just certain things in your martial art business. There's a right way and there's a better way, and we just have the better way. And I hate to sound so bold when I say that, but it's been proven time after time after time after time. We literally could have gone the entire show with Metzger just reading testimonials of here's what they did. Not even testimonials, it's just reporting back. Here's what our quarter one was. Here's what we could have kept going and going and going and going. It's been, that's why I called him today, because it's this flood of people and everyone's coming along for the ride, right? And so at the end of the day, it's about, number one, if you're in the middle of the ocean and you're drowning and someone throws you a life preserver and you don't take it, well, that's your fault. You've got to want to be helped, right? And that's, I think, what happens in this industry as well. Unfortunately, martial arts school owners like Metzger tend to have an ego. I don't, but most not. But unfortunately, martial arts school owners tend to have an ego. It's all right. I had to throw it in. And so we don't want to be told what to do by other people, or we think our way is better. And the reality is, for most people, you're running one location, and maybe you've talked to people at tournaments. And tournaments are, by the way, in my opinion, are the worst place to get. Was the worst place to have conversations, because everyone starts to puff their chest about how many students they have, what they're grossing, and usually those numbers are extremely far off. Get with people that are like-minded, that are telling the truth. There's no agenda with them. Our agenda is we want to see you grow. We get excited when we see you grow financially in your business. That's really what it is for us. So, the easy, quick answer is not only systems, but you have to execute. And that's where most people also will drop the ball, is they fail to execute. They feel like it's too hard, or it doesn't match their mindset. And maybe if I back up a step, really what it is for some people is mindset. And we've got to get rid of this stigma that's still around the martial art industry about it's not okay to make money in martial arts. It's 100% okay to make money doing what you do. And once we can get that pushed to the side and understand that, Now we've got the right mindset moving forward. It's not okay to steal, to cheat, to lie, to bamboozle your people into these things that you're not going to follow. That's not right. That's not the right thing for the sake of money. But doing things the right way, giving people the options to do things that they want to do within your school, and understand how those systems work and execute, that's what's going to get you to that next level, regardless of where you're at. Because we've done it with every school owner you can imagine. People who have nobody starting their school, and people that are very successful in their schools with 750 students that come to us for help. So, and everything in between. So we know, and again, it sounds like we're preaching, but we know we can help. And it's not because, we're pompous or egotistical. It's just because the proof is in the pudding, and we see it every single day. And especially when we end a quarter and we see these results, it's amazing. And we just get excited about it. We're very excited.
Did you say I have an ego?
I don't know. You must have cut out for a minute.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought,
Maybe.
because I want to clarify that.
Oh. Uh-oh, he's cutting out. He is cutting out for real now.
Freeze. Huh? There you go.
Oh,
You're back.
yeah, you froze as well. Okay, so clarify.
Right.
What did you say?
I absolutely do.
Okay, all right. Perfect.
Yeah. Perfect. But is ego good or bad? Did Michael Jordan have an ego?
And the thing
Can
is,
I compare myself? Can I compare myself to Michael Jordan for a minute?
the goat of the martial art industry, Mike Metzger.
Yeah, I think we'll get some hate mail on that. Oh, no, we won't. They'll just talk behind our backs on their own sites.
Right. Yeah, and by the way, I forget the series, but you had me watch it. It was unbelievable. Not only did he have an ego, but he literally played mind games with himself and made stuff up, because that's just how he knew he ticked to get to that next level, right? Which is pretty incredible. So
and the thing is, Tass, is it's frustrating. Why do we get on here and start a rant about how much we can help? Because of how much we want to help. I mean, that's what it is. But anyway, let's tell people, how do we do it? The first thing, I'll lead this off here. How do we get clients to instantly, and when I say instantly, within 90 days, start breaking records? Is the industry hearing me on this? Are they hearing me? Okay. Within 90 days, when you come on board, how do we get you to start breaking records in your school, whether you've been open for 2 years or 25 years? And in the simplest term, we simplify things by focusing on the only 3 things you need to focus on. We need to recruit new students, retain the students we have, and we need to know how to generate revenue. Most of you would say the hardest thing to do is recruit new students. It is not. The biggest hole that we see in the industry is we do not know how to generate revenue. You don't know how to do it, because for the majority of the industry, your idea of generating revenue is equating that to how many more students you have in your school. I need more students. Why? Because I need to make more money. Well, why don't you make more money first before you get new students? I don't know how. I mean, so that is number one. You got to understand the systems to do that. Now, for the people who don't know, we know what they're thinking. We don't want to nickel and dime our customers. Neither do we. I don't know how to explain that. And why do we harp on this, Tass? I harp on it because in my brain, in my mind, and my mom's probably watching, and I say this all the time, we are, Miss Mariah, it'll be living somewhere on the page, but good luck. She's told me this all the time. Mike, stop it. Not everybody thinks like you do. But at the end of the day, if you want to be more successful, you should be reaching out to talk to us, not sign up with us. You should be reaching out to talk to us, to talk to the other companies out there, and do your homework, or make excuses and say they're all lying. They don't know how to do it. They nickel and dime. Make up your own fantasy world where they're just McDojos. Their quality's horrible. They're lying. They're just nickel and diming people. Those are justifications for why you won't take action to better your business and your life. I mean, that's the difference. So, but recruit, retain, generate revenue. And in the first quarter, there are certain things you got to do in the first quarter to do that. Now, Tass, we are into quarter 2, 3, and 4, which we have down to a science on how to handle the revenue side for quarter 2, 3, and 4, and the recruiting side and the retention side. But what can you do to not confuse them, but give them some overview of how we get clients to break these records?
Well, first thing is, and you know, we can give you guys overviews at the end of the day. Here's what you should do, and here you should do this, and you must do this, and you gotta do this. But if you don't understand the basics behind it and the fundamentals behind it, and you're just doing it, it's kind of like going to a weekend certification program when you've never done a martial art before, and now you think you're walking on that weekend certification like you've got all the information. Well, you don't have the foundation. You know, you're getting bits and pieces. So, you know, one of the things that I always do with with a new client, and by the way, you guys can, if you track your numbers, right, you guys can do the same thing. I don't want this to be confusing, but I'm going to call it out. If you don't track your numbers, you don't take your business seriously, and that's just the end of discussion. You treat it like a hobby, not like a business. Until and unless you want to take your business seriously and track your numbers, you have a hobby. It's not important to you, and I'm going to call that out. It's not important enough to you. If you're someone that wants to generate more revenue, then you're not in the right place, and you're not ready for any kind of coaching because you don't even know your own numbers. So you got to track your numbers, because when you track your numbers, now we can we can open up the file and look at, okay, where are we at for numbers? Because I'll tell you, there's examples I have of. I got a school, the owner, that's got a $220 student value, which, by the way, no after school, no summer camp, no nothing. But they have a 10% attrition rate. It's horrible. But that's what we looked at when they came on board. So we're going to focus on retention for them. I don't need to focus on their student value right now. But some of you may be like, well, not us. We have a 2% attrition rate. That's awesome. Good for you. You probably have 100 students or less, and that's great news. But you have a revenue problem. And so once we find out what area of business that you're, because we all struggle with something a little bit different, there's only a certain number of things, but I'm not going to work on this when it's not going to have as big of an impact when I can work on that, and it's going to be a lightning bolt for your school. So really understanding and knowing your numbers is crucially important, because I just don't know, who's out there watching and who we're talking to. I don't want to make a just generalized statement of go do this, but we're coming up on one of the biggest times of the year to recruit new students. It's also happens to be one of the times that we lose the most number of students, and that's coming into summertime. And for those of you that are on month-to-month programs, you're going to get hammered right now because you're going to have people that want to freeze. And I get it. And if that's the way you like to run your business, that's great, but there's a better way. But on the recruitment side of things, people are looking for things for their kids to do for summer. So one of the things to take into consideration, I know a lot of people that are in a place that either are working full-time or maybe their school's doing a little bit better. They're taking some of those dollars and they're putting into a marketing budget. And one of the biggest mistakes that we see made is people take their marketing budget and they sprinkle it across all 12 months. So they're spending, I'm making the number up. And we have clients, I think our clients spend minimum of $500 a month on online marketing. We have clients that spend $2,000 a month, right? But whatever fits into your budget, let's just take $250. Let's take $100. Well, rather than spend $100 a month, right, or $1,200 for the year, I would be stacking up on those 3 times a year so you can go after when you know you're going to get those people. And summer is one of those things. We have, and this goes back to mindset. So many of us are thinking, well, I'm not going to do that. That's just stupid because people go on vacation and they leave and why would I spend money on marketing during summer? Well, tell that to our clients that picked up 170 new trials, on a summer special. And they converted, 70 of those people. And yeah, you're going to get some fall off because you're appealing to the masses, but you have a full school. There's opportunities that you have out there. I will also tell you, and this is I'm not a social media guru, but I have a client and, they started off here and we're building them up. And we started to try and leverage a little bit and spend a little bit of money. They couldn't afford a whole lot. So they were spending $200 a month on Facebook ads. It just weren't getting any traction. 2 leads, 3 leads. That was what they were getting per month. And then I believe, learned this from Chris Rodriguez, our social media expert. We condensed those ads into a 2-week, that $200 ad spend into a 2-week period as opposed to a month. Well, last month he had 21 leads on the same ad spend. So that's an example. And if we don't know what we don't know. And when you have a team of people that are, on the business system side, on the marketing side, on the summer camp and after school, when you have that team, look, we all need mentors. We all need coaches. As great of friends as Metzger and I, best friends, there are not just best friend conversations. There's also mentoring conversations. And I think that's important for everyone to understand, whether that coach is us or somebody else. But here's also, I've done this. Some of you be like, well, he told me mindset. I got to go to a Tony Robbins seminar, and then you're going to go to a Tony Robbins seminar. You're going to go to, a Dan Kennedy seminar for marketing or this. The problem with taking that information is you're trying to take a round or a square peg and put it in a round hole, right? It just doesn't fit necessarily. And you've got to dissect on how all that's going to work in your business, as opposed to just get with someone that's been doing this for, a lot of years and been very successful because of other people and because of the clients. And we already have a lot of those systems in place for you. I mean, we're in the best business, really. We're in the best business in the world. We have an ascension model. If you're doing upgrades, you're doing them, you just don't know it. But there's an ascension model to raise ticket prices. I'll say that, right? Just from a sales perspective. We have recurring revenue, which, because we charge every single month, right? And you've got this belt system in place in most of your schools. I mean, it is the perfect formula for a successful business. And we can't forget that we have that at our fingertips, and we just need to know how to put the pieces of the puzzle in the right place. And you guys will have an unbelievable future, and you'll see how you can change things dramatically. And some of those numbers I said earlier may be unbelievable. Well, some of them, when you hear, well, they went from 17,000 to 25,000, maybe that's not impressive to you. But if you figure out the math statistically and what percent increase that is, I think, stop looking. This is going to be dangerous territory, but stop looking at the market, like the stock market and this and that, and where you can make money. The biggest money, the biggest percentage of gains that you can make right now are in your own martial arts school and the untapped gold that you have sitting in your school, just because your systems aren't where they need to be.
You know what I'd like to ask everybody, if anybody wants to participate, but what is the biggest, if you had to pick one for the people that are watching, what's the biggest challenge you face in growing your business? If you had to pick one, what is the biggest challenge you face in growing your business? I'd like to know that. And we're on a little bit of a delay here. Because I'm not hosting this, I don't see everything here. So,
and Matt, I mean, we can wait for some of these responses to come in, but sometimes it's about asking yourself the right questions too, right? And so, what is the biggest problem? And you're going to say, well, it's students, right? It's lack of new students. Maybe that's one of your responses as an example. Well,
here we go. Time, getting off the floor, maybe time to see a chiropractor, maybe. Right?
Like you're laid out on the floor and you get adjusted.
By the way, I have ego, but I would never say that I'm good at telling jokes.
Right. Yeah, if you're all like twisted and stuff, you probably need a chiropractor.
Right. No, it's time, getting off the floor. My old bad habits, which I'm replacing with Maya smart habits. Hiring the right staff is the biggest problem. Does anyone else want to wait? Thank you, sir. That was funny. He said, "Thank you. You just want a free year of Maya."
That's funny too. That was a joke, just so you know.
That was my funniest joke, by the way. Mr. Spoon, it's good to see you. So listen, let's talk about that. Time and getting off the floor it coincides, right? Meaning, getting off the floor, either, man, quality suffers when I get off the floor, or my biggest challenge is getting off the floor to get this other stuff done. At the end of the day, it could be a time issue, because then I would say, well, do we have enough time to train our assistants if it's a quality issue? And how do I develop time to get off the floor and do everything? Well, first of all, and this is good, is efficiency. We need to know how to be efficient. If you're a one-man or one-woman show, I would set your schedule up to where there's 10-minute gaps minimum, if not 15 minutes, in between classes. then how efficient are you at setting up appointments and getting an enrollment conference done within 15 minutes? Can you be efficient and still get the rapport and still make people feel special? And then ongoing, don't give people, all your attention when you're just trying to enroll them. Once they're a student, can you keep that up, right? So number one is efficiency. Number two is systems. You have to have systems, right? Number three, Tass said it, nobody likes it. You got to know your numbers. We got to know where the holes are, because there's certain holes we got to fix and focus on first. Because if you don't do that and you say, I need staff, I need to get off the floor more, I need to get more students, I need to retain better, you're going to overwhelm yourself. It's going to be overwhelming and discouraging to run your business. So you need to know your numbers and focus on which gaps or holes to fill first. And there's systems for all of this stuff.
And Mets, they're posting, and I'm not. This is not a slam on anybody, but if I was having a conversation with you, and for the sake of the show, right, we're just trying to make sure we streamline it. But when you said time, I said, well, what do you mean by, like, this is how you handle objections with parents the same way, right? Well, time. Well, what do you mean by time? Give me an example. Well, tell me more about that. Is it time because you work a full-time job and you don't have the time to get into your school? Okay, cool. Is it time, or and I'm not saying this to whoever said time. I'm not saying this is you, right? But is that maybe an excuse? And this is where having those one-on-one conversations and really uncovering what it is really, really important. If it's finding the right staff, I'm guilty of this, so I don't say anything that I'm not guilty of, right? But for forever, we've been talking about, yeah, we're just not going to find any good help because it's the millennials. They just don't want to work and this and that, whatever. Well, if that's your mindset, good luck. You're not going to find, that, again, back to mindset. And there is some importance. There is some value in Tony Robbins and all those things, because what you put in, you're going to get out, and you're going to get more of. Whatever you focus on, you get more of. And thoughts become things. And if you've been thinking, just process this for a second. If the same thoughts are entering your mind on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and they're the same recurring thoughts of why you can't move forward and what's holding you back, and I don't have the time, I don't have the students, and you're conditioning yourself to continue to have those same thoughts. You got to break free from that, and you got to start getting rid of that mentality, focus on something differently, and start asking yourself the right question. How can I get the time? How can I get more students? How can I increase my revenue? How can I do these things? And when you do that, you're going to shift your focus to something different, and your mind is going to give you a different answer. And I don't want to get all metaphysical on that, but I've found myself in the same trap, and it's easy to get into a trap. When things aren't going well, we can fall into that rut. And I forget who said it, but a rut is nothing more than a grave with the ends dug out, right? So we don't want to be in that rut. And if that's you, whether it's you doing affirmations, you're changing the questions that you ask, whatever it is that you need to do to get out of that. And by the way, I say that because I'm going through some of that stuff, right? There's some mental fog that I'm going through, right? And so I'm not better than anybody else. And I'm saying that because in this business, in any business or anything that you do in life, your mindset is number one most important. And if you've got this mindset of, you know what, martial arts will never be successful, just be a hobby, or Mets, I think your mom, I won't quote your mom, but I know my parents said to me, well, that's great, Shane. What are you going to do for a real job? Well, when you hear that over and over, that can be a little bit depressing, right? And it's hard to break free, and you start to question, you start to doubt. You guys are martial arts instructors that, by the way, teach life skills of confidence, right, in your school, and how to boost confidence. But I think sometimes we need to boost our own confidence so that we can take our business to the next level. And everything that everybody's saying here, I would tell you the number one reason. What I would tell you the number one reason is this. The reason you feel like you're in a spot that you can't grow, the biggest reason is fear. It's fear of the unknown. It's fear of taking action. It's fear of what will happen. And I'm comfortable. Yes, financially, things aren't where I want them to be, but I'm comfortable in my little box right now, and I don't want to disrupt that because you have a scarcity mindset, and this is all I have right now. And if I disrupt this little box, what if I start to lose some of that? Well, what if it starts to explode? And that's where I think mindset is one of the most important things.
Hey, and here's a tip for everybody, and then we can banter more, but Here's a tip: if you're short staffed, or if time is an issue,
Right.
or if you're a one man or one woman show, take your second quarter, right, April, May, and June, and put 100% focus in 1 month on recruiting, where all you're really going to focus on is recruiting. So what does that mean? I'm going to try to run some boots on the weekends. I'm going to spend a little bit more on social media. I'm going to be more diligent on lead follow-ups. I'm going to do a buddy day in my school. Everything you can think of to recruit students, and put all your focus just on recruiting. Then in the next month, focus on retention. So now all those students you enrolled and all your students that you've had, what can we do? And let me put all my focus on retaining students. It doesn't mean I'm not going to enroll students. It means I'm going to be proactive at retaining the students. So what does that mean? I'm going to make it a point over the next 30 days in this month that I'm going to call every student, leave them a message, tell them how great they're doing in class. I'm going to have a spring picnic or an outing since the weather may be nice. I'm going to host a free event at our school. I think we just lost Tess. Whatever you can think of to retain your students and make your retention strong and put all your focus there. Then in your third month, you could focus on revenue generating events or generating revenue. How can we do that? Well, for those of you who have upgrade programs, you can really focus on upgrades. You could do programming product for profit. What does that mean? It means you're going to do a free event, a seminar where you're going to go over 10 different ways to improve your speed, focus, and power using a square hand target. Free seminar, you just got to purchase the square hand target, right? And I'm going to generate retail revenue. I'm going to do a big summer sale, let's say, or gear sale or uniform sale. I'm going to generate revenue there. I'm going to do a parents' night out. I'm going to do I'm going to pre-register people for a camp that I might be holding in the summer. And all your focus goes into revenue. So now what you did is you put 100% focus for an entire month, just being proactive at generate revenue in-house. And then in the next quarter, we can repeat. Now, it may not be in that same order, right? Because in the next quarter, right now we're in April, May, June. Well, July, August, September, your recruiting focus needs to be in August or September when it's the back to school time, when parents are actively looking for things to get their kids involved with as the new school year is starting. So you want recruiting in August or September, depending on when your school starts. Here in Florida, or in Orlando rather, we start in August. Some of you start in September, right? So retention maybe July. It's the dead of summer. How can I make sure I retain students? A lot of students are traveling. They're on vacation. Well, what can we do to retain those students? Get them excited to get back to class, right? We can call them. We can have a contest. Hey, send us a postcard from wherever you're at. We're going to post it up on the board. When you come back to class and you grab your postcard, you get a stripe on your belt, right? For example, that's a concept. But now they want to send a postcard. They're thinking about you, and the children, if you work with kids, are excited to get back to class to see their postcard up on the wall and to get a stripe on their belt, which just got them back in the door to get them back in the habit of training in martial arts again. So we could go for hours, but this is just a concept and an idea for you guys, especially if you find that you're overwhelmed or you don't have enough time or help.
Yeah, and look, the other thing I was going to say is, we've been in that office. I mean, you're in that office every day in that conference room, and the people that are in that conference room, and the brainstorming and the ideas and the things that come out of those meetings are so powerful. Who's over there? Miss Connor. And this is really what makes the team work. And so you might be saying, wow, we're getting the tour of the office. There it is.
Who's that, everyone? Who do you think that is?
Oh, Shelby.
Everyone else was fired, by the way.
Yes. No, because they're such a powerful team. But if you don't have time, chances are you don't have time to sit down and even think about what you're going to do for retention or think about what you're going to do. You're just in reactive mode. And this is why having systems in your school is so important. But also, you're going to hear things that you've never heard of before, and you get to pick like, well, hey, I love that idea. I'm not so sure about that one right now, but I love that idea. I'm going to implement this idea. And this is what My Edge is, right? It's a resource center for everybody to go on and get all that information, where exactly what Mr. Metzger was talking about. Here's what you're doing for recruitment. Here's what you're doing for revenue. Here's what you're doing for retention. And there's a quarterly plan. Like, if you have to use tools in your life, right, to make things easier. And that's really what My Edge is it's a tool. So if you're not in a position to do, one-on-one coaching, use the tools that are available to you to make your life easier. I'll never forget, man. And I had the tools back in the day, but the tools today are so much easier to use. Back in the day, and Metz, you probably remember this, we used to get the ad slicks, and you'd have to cut out the offer, glue it on, and then make photocopies of what that actual offer was. I mean, now you drop stuff into Canva, you drop it over here, you do whatever you want, and boom, you have your flyer done, ready, and ready to go in 15, 20 minutes. You hand it out tonight in classes. It's not this long project, and that can immediately give you a pop of revenue or retention or whatever it may be. But you don't know what you don't know, and that My Edge site is a resource center for all things retention, all things revenue, all things, on the recruitment side. And we all typically have a challenge with one of those things, and our goal and our mission is to get you to that next level. So yeah, we get passionate about it. I talked to a potential client today, and I spoke to him 2 weeks ago. We had a great conversation, and he was asking about one-on-one coaching. And he called me back. He was going to be gone for a little bit. I was gone. And he called me back to reconnect today. And he's like, Shane, we had a great conversation 2 weeks ago. He said, but listen, you never went over like how to get started with elite coaching. I said, it's funny that you bring that up, sir. I said, it's actually been, I think, the last 3 calls, right, that's actually happened with. And why? Because I'm really not after the sale. I mean, that's not my goal. That's not my mission. I have plenty of clients, and I'm not looking to take on a whole bunch more, but it's because I'm passionate about what it is that we're doing. And I told him, I said, Maya changed my life forever. And one of the ways that the things that I feel like I want to do, not that I need to do, but that I want to do, is be able to have that same influence, that same impact on other people. And so for those people that are ready and willing to be helped, we can certainly help. But that's how passionate we get. Like, he's like, I don't even know about what the program is, right? So went through with him today. And by the way, he's now in the one-on-one coaching program. I don't know if you know that.
Who's that?
There you go. New client. I'll tell you later.
Hey, by the way,
I don't know if he wants me to share. So.
Why don't you just tell everybody about the conversation you had with the other gentleman today, who still has some partners? Don't mention the name, and where he was and what he was saying and where he is now. From what, 1 year?
Oh man, actually, he'd be a great guest to bring on as well. I believe, and don't quote me on this, he opened his school 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. And he had called and was looking for some help. And I gave him, Metz has said this before, I gave him some things to go do. I thought we could be a great fit for Elite and the one-on-one coaching. He didn't want to sign up. He has these investors and they're not sure about it. And I said, okay, that's cool. I said, but get them on a call so they understand what the impact is that we can have. Long story short, this went on for 6 months. And, he didn't sign up for Elite. Well, why? Fear. I said it earlier. It was fear. It was the fear of the unknown. So he signs up for Elite, and he had gotten to school. I believe he was doing about $15,000 a month. But he had after school and summer camp, and he was doing all those things, and he still is, by the way. Because we had to build his martial art business up to surpass his after school business. Long story short, guy's doing $15,000 to $20,000 a month. Calls me, is afraid because he's not now going to make this payment to this investment to Maya. Plus he's got his partners, plus all this other stuff. Well, last month that school did 93,000 of that, and I'll just tell you, 70,000 of that was martial art dollars, just over 70,000. So he's and he said to me last night, he goes, I used to look at people and be like, see, them talking about money and all this other stuff, and he would say, like, what planet are you guys from where you can talk about that kind of money? And he said, I'm finally starting to understand it and see it. And his staff is super excited. His instructors, he has a program director. I mean, he is absolutely loving what's going on. And he said, now that I've got this program director, she was like literally a gift from the heavens. And he goes, I got her trained in. He's like, I literally can now take a step back from my school and be like, hey, guys, I'm not coming in today, right? Now, he's still there very, very often in the school, but it's allowed him to kind of take a step back and breathe a little bit. But this is what's possible. But I will tell you, what all of these people that you're going to hear stories on, and he tells you all these stories, they all have in common is they're action takers and they execute. They just don't get the information, sit on it. They actually take it, run with it, and execute it. And so, of course, he had a record month, record quarter, and they're on their way to some really great things, which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's inspiring, man. So, and you're right. He'd be a great guest. We should have him come on and tell his story.
Yeah.
And that's it, guys. So there it is. I mean, remember, break up your quarter, focus on efficiency, recruit, retain, generate revenue, and try to make things simpler. And we're here for anybody that's interested. If you want to take a look, I mean, Shelby, what can we post in here? What should we post? Foundations, growth, call, Calendly, growth. I mean, my TAS's cell number. We'll make it easy. If anybody just wants to just get on the phone and say, hey, I need some help. I'm not signing up for anything, but you guys always say you would help. We will help you. You won't have to sign up for anything. It's our pleasure to help.
And here's the thing. I said it before, fear. There's also maybe some fear in just reaching out and connecting. And you've said this before too, Metz. Number one, you may feel, I was told the other day by a parent that I was intimidated. I don't know how that happened, but you may feel intimidated. You may feel like you might ask a dumb question. We will tell you if you ask a dumb question, so don't worry about that. No, I'm teasing. We're not going to do that, right? But you may have some fear in just reaching out in general. And, we're going to have a very candid and open conversation. And, if that's something you want to do, get over that fear, have that conversation, open the pathway of communication. Look, we can't do it for you. You have to want to do it. And, you reach out. Look, we're just everyday guys and helping out the industry the best that we can. But we can't do anything if we don't know that you want to be helped. So however you want to reach out, Facebook message, click the link, whatever you want to do, we're here for you.
There it is. So good luck, guys. We will see everybody soon. We got a little storm blowing through right here, and then we have beautiful weather for the weekend. Hey, tomorrow, I'm going to be at a festival tomorrow watching CNC Music Factory again. We were at dinner with Freedom last night. He's been texting the whole time. Freedom Williams, guys, for you old schoolers. So, CNC and Tag Team and Vanilla Ice, and we're going old school. I can't wait to tell Vanilla Ice I used his line to get my wife to date me.
Is that right?
Yeah, drop that zero, get with the hero. When she was dating someone else, got to tell him. Here we are, 30 years later. It really worked.
Oh my God! Everyone needs a coach, man. Even in relationships.
Vanilla Ice was my mentor. Changed my life forever.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it'll be a good talk with him.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So it'll be fun. Supposedly, we're going backstage tomorrow. Me and Diana and Frank and Barbara. So there it is. Hang out with the fellas.
Is that where is that? Or is
It's a music festival in Ocoee.
Okay.
It's an outdoor music festival. They said 20,000 people or something.
Yeah, incredible.
And I'd like to just address the crowd about the 5 profit centers before they go on. See if I can't get them energized.
I'm sure that'll be taken well, just like it was in New York when you were live.
By the way, it's funny because they texted, Freedom texted and says, hey, they don't serve alcohol here, but we can bring some backstage, right? And I said, hey, I'll smuggle in some iced tea. Ask all the acts if they like Pure Leaf, Gold Peak, or Arizona brand. So he thought that was funny. But I was being serious.
Yes.
Anyway,
And
All
you need
right,
2
guys.
cups and some Splendas, and you'll be all
Yeah, I'll
good.
get Splendas. I'll bring I'll bring lemons.
You'll have the iced tea bar, baby. Create your own iced tea drink.
Come on over here, Ice. And tag team, bring it in. I think
Oh,
Montel Jordan. Anybody know Montel Jordan? This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Come on, guys. No,
Mhm.
nothing.
Yes.
Oh, now they know.
La 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 la.
Wow.
Woo, woo. Well, I hope they watched till the end because that was good.
That was good.
That was good.
Yeah, there it is. Well, it'll be a good time.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. Well,
Anyway.
listen, enjoy, and if we can help anybody, guys, certainly let us know. Happy to help you guys, and appreciate you guys always jumping on and listening to the horrible humor of the one and only Mike Metzger.
Thank you, Tass.
You're welcome.
Keep your day job. He was talking to you, Perry. All right, guys.
All right,
Tass,
appreciate you guys.
thank you. Bye, guys.
All right.
Thank you. See you
Sounds good.
soon.
Bye, guys. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.